Hello, everybody, and welcome to the Painted in Color podcast. I'm co-host Lauren Brown, joined by co-host Mia Araujo and Eric Wilkerson. And today we are going to talk about the difficult state of the industry and the world that we are in, and the kinds of things that we would try to give ourselves advice or other people advice about how it is to come up in a world that seems to be so actively and rampantly anti-artist and pro AI and saturated social media and all the hardship and woes. What do we do, and how do we adapt to these kinds of times that we're in? So that's what we're talking about, and we're gonna go right into it. But I guess the question though is how do people like survive though in lieu during the like while building up for the long game? Because right now things got have gotten so expensive. Things have gotten so difficult to manage with like the rising cost of healthcare and rent and food and gas and like all these things, and people are having to survive with these like part-time jobs that are not paying them enough for the labor that they're doing while trying to also be an artist and have the energy to be an artist. Um, and this has increasingly been a thing that I've been hearing more and more from people who are trying to make it in the industry at a time where there's record low jobs across games, animation, um, other
Wow.
industries and everything like that. And I'm like, I'm evaluating a lot of what I'm saying to people because the time where we got brought up was a whole different era. I mean, even the three of us are from different eras, especially with you, Eric, because you were before us. But it's still vastly different than it even was 4 years ago when I got hired at Wizards. Like I was like I think one of I don't know how many applicants there were, but I think I was against like one other person for a consideration for art direction. Like that's unheard of now.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. And so even 4 years ago, it was way different. Now we have thousands of applicants per job listing, and people are just like throwing their resume and portfolio into the void and no one's seeing it. It's like, and I'm just like, is this a waste of time? Like, should people even be spending their time applying to jobs? Or like, what should they be doing now? Because like, yeah, I've been thinking about this a lot because I'm trying to think of better advice to give people for the era that we are in now. How do you survive as an artist when everything is against you?
Well, I know that I was actually telling my students about this. I was trained by romance cover painters. Like that is it's a dead art,
Yeah, it
you
is.
Yeah.
know? Um, I was trained by people that had photo shoots with Fabio, and that's not a name that anybody talks about anymore.
Oh, Fabio.
That's
You
amazing.
How's
know?
he doing?
So, um, back when there was no there was no digital painting. There was no AI to consider. You either you went to school and you learned how to do it and you learned how to paint and you were either good at the end of your time in school and good enough to get work or you weren't. That was it.
Yeah.
And now people can kind of scrape by, fudge things, use a lot of software, a lot of filters, a lot of plugins, a lot of AI stuff, and call it a career. But you couldn't fake it back then. And um, we were taught that you had to put together postcards and mail it out
Yeah.
to art directors and um, attend conventions and go to the Society of Illustrators and pray to God that an art director was going to be there and don't say nothing stupid and introduce yourself. All
Yeah.
of these things. Um, the 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 illustration market for publishing, all of the illustrators that were doing it, going about all the way back to like the days of Rockwell, they all lived on the East Coast. They all lived within driving distance of New York City
Yeah, they
because
did.
that's where the industry was. But now you can be remote, you can be anywhere in the world with internet access and do this for whoever. and it would get super expensive if you had to be mailing postcards. It's not realistic
Yeah, it's
anymore.
like $5 to mail anything now. It's
Right.
unbelievable.
Yeah. And with all kinds of mailing issues internationally, like who knows when the postcard would ever even make it,
Mhm.
Yeah.
you know? But I was just thinking about our careers and um, knowing what we know, like what would we do differently, or what would we do if we were starting our careers today to try to find work, considering that the industry is in this state of flux where, there aren't a lot of jobs and AI is really impacting game studios, publishing industry, and enrollment in colleges all over the world.
Hmm.
There are artists out there that want to do this professionally. They want to do book covers. They want to be a magic art artist. They want to work in animation and whatever it is that they are passionate about, but they need to go to school. They need to go to some place to learn how to do that. And it's really some of these colleges really cost prohibitive. SVA is $70,000 a year.
Oh my God.
That expensive?
It's
Are you
that
Serious?
double
expensive.
what it was when I was going to school
I
here
was
in
I was
California?
just talking to a friend of mine that teaches at FIT, Fashion Institute of Technology in New York City, and they're a public, not a public, state. It's a state school,
Yeah.
state college. So their tuition isn't ridiculous, but it's up there, and even they're having problems with enrollment. So
Hmm.
the alternatives for art education and getting the information that people need is coming from social media, it's coming
Yes.
from mentorships, it's coming from YouTube.
Mhm.
But which YouTube video do you watch? Who do you believe?
Yeah,
The
So
people with good art.
I saw my I call them my knee folk because they're non-binary, not nephew, not niece, but knee folk. Um, I saw my knee folk looking at a YouTube video for reference, and it was one of their peers that they actually draw better than. And I'm like, oh, no, 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 no. This is not you do not want to use this reference. Please do not use videos like this. I'm like, you already are better than them. You do not want to use somebody who's lower than your level as a reference for how to get better at certain things. And like, just don't, unless they're doing a technique that you haven't done before, or there's some new tool in Procreate that you haven't learned yet. If they're just trying to teach you how to draw, you don't got to look at this video, baby. You really don't have to. This is not the one. You look at, this professional artist as somebody, but what it is that I think a lot of the younger generation are looking for people who are more attainable and not necessarily aspirational. I've seen a lot of that recently with younger artists. Not even Gen Z, but Gen Alpha, I think. Don't come at me, Gen Zs. I'm sorry. But no, it's just like it's a pitfall that I see a lot. Like, make sure that you're referencing the right kinds of videos. But then I guess the question begs itself, how do you find the right kinds of videos to even learn off of? Who do you know to get mentored by? If you're looking for guidance in art and how to improve yourself in art, how do you know that this artist has studied their foundations properly and has some kind of proper art education, whether they're self-taught or have a degree? Because self-taught artists can be amazing too. They
Yeah.
don't have to be classically trained, but they have to know what they're doing in and out before they get to teach you how to do it or be a valid source of mentorship. But if you don't know what to look for as an artist, if you haven't learned your foundations yet, how do you even know what to seek out?
We have
Because the
to
people who are
ask because we
popular,
didn't know. Our
we
teachers
didn't
told
know.
us, It's like when we went to school, our teachers told us these are the people you look at. I would
Yeah.
never have known to look for all these like amazing, figure drawers, like Carl Nass or Glenn Vilppu or whoever. I would never like their names were not out there, you know? So it's just like your teachers tell you. But also there are schools, like online schools, where they're kind of like they're not accredited, but they're sort of vouched for by other professionals, right? Where you see there's a stable of artists that all have careers in teaching this stuff. So, but to
Yeah.
your point, it's not that your peers can't teach or that they can't show you some things about how to draw, but I'm almost like screaming hearing you say this because it's like with the neuroplasticity at their age, like they need to be going for the hardest stuff now, like while your
Yeah.
brain can learn, while your brain can
So
actually try to
understandable.
get the hard stuff. Like try learning new things as you get older. Like it gets so much harder. So
Mhm.
that's what I would be doing with my time if I was young and like unemployed. I'd be like, okay, how do I make money? What are my skills that are not art that can make me money now? And I will do everything with my free time to make my art better and learn as much as I can while my brain can actually absorb stuff. Like, and just like think about the dream thing you want to do someday, you'll get to do it someday. But like every time you watch Bake Off or like any of those like shows, like most of the British bakers are not professional bakers before they get on that show. They have a full-time job doing something else that's paying their bills, and baking is their passion. That's the world we're headed in with art, unfortunately, is like even in the US, where
Yeah.
up till now there were careers that you could have for art for like 30 years and either self-employed or employed by a company. But it's like it's becoming more and more competitive to have those jobs.
It is.
So
Yeah.
I just think it's just I don't want to be like the cold water here, but it's like the acceptance is kind of what frees you from the despair a little bit, in terms of it's okay that you're not having the full-time stable job right now. Hardly anyone is, but what can you do with that time? You know what I mean? Like,
Well, I also find it interesting that we live in a time now where there are sources of income that did not exist
Yeah.
when we
That's
were
true.
coming out of college, especially when I was coming out. YouTube didn't exist.
Yeah.
And or if it did, it was just like movie trailers and fight videos. It wasn't like random like world was it World Star? It was like random
Oh
World
my God.
Star
Not World
clips.
Star. Oh my
It was
God.
random stuff like that on YouTube. But now people are able to um, make money off of just posting content.
mhm.
Yeah.
Content creator is a word. It's a profession. So like if I were coming out of school and if I had an audience for my stuff or my journey as a student, creating a certain body of work, letting people watch that journey and eventually turning that into some kind of income stream, I see that being done as well, but it's also another job.
It
There's
is another job.
there's the creating the art, then there's okay, now I have to make myself presentable. I have to put on a happy face. I've got to read this script on my monitor. I've got to, you know, be consistent and edit and do the voiceovers and all this. Like, there's a whole other skill set that you have to train yourself with other than just painting.
Yeah.
That is a pain in the ass
Yeah.
And
unless
you
you
just want to
really
draw.
truly want to do it.
You just want to paint nice things, and yet you have to be a marketer, a social media manager, an editor, a personality, an extrovert, which most artists are not. Let's be real. I'm not an extrovert. But that's also the thing too. A lot of people, even if they do want to go that route where they want to be a personality, because they see their favorite creator doing what they do, they got inspired. There are so many people who are also inspired by their favorite creator who also want to go for that exact same route. And you're not going to get noticed unless you have something that makes you stand out. If you go into it, content creation, I mean, thinking that you're going to make a bunch of money, that's not the right reason. That's not the reason to do it. Like you can't do it for money because it ain't gonna work. You got to do it for the love of the game first and foremost because people are attracted to that passion. That's what usually catapults people, and it's often very unexpected. The results that a lot of streamers and YouTubers, etc., have had was not. It was a lot of it was by chance,
Mhm.
by luck of the algorithm snatching them at the right time or the right person seeing it at the right time, or etc. But most of them were not expecting the level of fame at all by far that they got. Like I was just listening to FD Signifier about it was a great he has a great YouTube channel analysis about things in Black culture. But he'll do this like amazing video essays and everything. But he was just talking about his journey and saying that he was like, I was just trying to start my YouTube channel and trying to figure out how to get any reach or whatever. And I just like was I just hyperfixate on things and I get really passionate and I wanted to share it with people. Like it was his passion. And
Mhm.
so if content creation or whatever it is that you might be thinking that you see other people doing, that's not your if that's not your passion, it is not going to be your best foot forward. I promise you right now. If you're thinking I want to do this because I see people making money at it, but you don't feel one way or the other about it, it ain't gonna work, fam, because you got to have that love behind it because you have to want to do this every day. You have to want to do it every week and get up and edit your thing and research how to make it better. And you're not going to do that if you don't enjoy it. It's just not going to happen. You're going to fall off and you're going to want to do anything else but that. So whatever route that is, like what I would recommend like for my younger self and just for anybody who is trying to figure it out is there is an intersection of things that you enjoy and you are interested in. And it's an intersection that other people may not have. Uh, it could be like, I just really love baking a lot and or I love drawing food, or I love researching like the science behind how to temper chocolate or like what, I don't know, like fashion design, like the nuances of fashion design and how seams are made. Those niche things are actually what can make you more unique as a creator, whether it's an artist, a writer, a singer, whatever. Like those are the things that help you stand out because they're the things that make you unique as a person and it's something that you can blend into the combination of what you'd like to draw already. Put your passion on the canvas, make it everybody else's problem, and be really cringe about it. But yeah, I think that if you try to go for something thinking that you're going to make money out the gate, probably not going to happen.
Well,
Now
that's
for the older folks, what does make it as cringe? What is because my
Oh.
daughter says that a lot, and I just kind of nod. Is it me
Well,
like be just over, just be like obsessive, or like
I
what
want to,
is
I
it?
want to, Mia was going to ask something too, and I want to hear Mia before I answer
no,
the
no,
next
no. I was
question.
gonna go in a different direction, so we should answer this because this is on topic.
So cringe is basically, it's like, it's meant to be like something embarrassing that is like, oh my God, that's so cringe. Like you're being so cringe right now. You're like, you're on the platform like dancing with a stupid outfit on. That's so cringe. Um, but it's like, but cringe is also kind of like leaning into not caring what other people think.
Okay, good.
But it's
Well
also like
then,
sincere, you know?
It's
It's like it's
sincere.
to the point that it's almost like too sincere for some people where they feel almost like, oh, I'm
It's like, oh
cringing
my
at
God, that's so
it.
cringe.
Right.
They
okay.
cringe at it, like, ugh. But but cringe is to another level of just it is so inherently you, like something that's like embarrassing, but like it's oh my God, I have a problematic favorite who's like, I know this is embarrassing, but I love it anyway. Like for me,
It's
I love Sonic the
vulnerability.
Hedgehog a lot. That would be cringe to a lot of people that I love Sonic the Hedgehog so much. Um, Specifically Knuckles, who's my favorite. That's cringe to a
Okay.
lot of people. It's not something I'm supposed to like,
Hmm.
but
All
I
right.
love
I
it, and
got you.
I don't care, and I don't care if
Because
it's cringe.
when Star Fox showed up in the new Mario Brothers movie, I
I
applauded.
heard
I'm
about
in a theater full of children, and I was like, yes.
that.
And my
Yeah,
daughter looks at me and she goes, "Oh God, it's so he's so cringe. He's so
yeah,
cringe."
that's cringe. That's cringe. But
That's
it's like that's the
amazing.
stuff. Wear it on your sleeve. That's your cringe. That's you.
Yeah.
Don't
Yeah.
hide that. That's the special stuff in there. So yeah, don't hide your cringe. Because I struggled for a while with my own cringe, and when I started being more successful at art is when I found my cringe and embraced it instead. It was when I realized that I want to be somebody who combines fashion, nature, black women, and whimsy and nouveau all in one and let that be the thing. And I've never been happier making art
But also
because,
for some people, cringe is not the same thing as it is to others. You know what I mean? Like that doesn't sound cringeworthy to me, like what you just described. But it's like
yeah,
for you, it did because it feels so vulnerable, you know, and
it's
that's
so
part of it.
vulnerable. Yes. It's so intrinsically me that it's like I'm putting all of the inside of my mind on a page and I hope that people like it. So I feel like that's my cringe, even though it's not really like cringe in the subject matter. But
Right.
yes, the vulnerability is what makes it cringe. Mia, what were you gonna say?
Oh, it was to backtrack a little to what you had said that made me think of this was you were talking about all these things that is embracing your cringe, embracing the things you're passionate about won't make you money at the beginning. It's kind of like thinking about it like a startup, and it's just
Hmm.
when you have a startup, you have no money, you have no, like maybe you have all this time because you're laid off or you're unemployed or whatever, but it's like you have to put in so much time for it to actually make you money. So I guess it's like that's something, again, all the way back to the beginning of when I was making my book. I realized that early on. I'm like, I'm not going to make money at this for a very long time, if ever. So I have to solve that problem now somehow. So it's just like if that is your reality where you're like, I have no money, I'm maybe in debt, I need to look for a place to live, like get those basics figured out first, because you can't create when those things are just crowding your brain all the time. And it's like I'm kind of in that startup mode right now, like full disclosure. I'm like, I have like a bubble chart of different things I'm doing because publishing is tough. It just is. Like it's like between books, like you have to figure something out. And most people keep their day job. Um, and each one of these things I actually did is like I actually looked at each of the things on my bubble chart in terms of things I could do to make money someday, and which ones take money to do, like which ones take an
Hmm.
investment of money and based on by how much, which ones are relatively no money up front but a lot of work, and I balance those out. So it's just like doing freelance illustration and writing books are the most time consuming bubbles on my chart. They're just going to take a lot of time to make a full work. But they
Yeah.
they have no startup money at all in terms of like they don't cost money to make. It's just a lot of time investment. Doing conventions is a huge money investment. It's not
Yes.
as much time because there's not a lot of shows, at least for me during the year. A lot of people do this full time, but it's a huge cost to invest in. So just things like that. Like just think about each aspect in your life, like which one's a time sink, which one's a money sink, to help you be practical about how you spend your time, because that's the other thing too. It's like I also help my partner sell his magic cards and stuff, and he has like a signature business or whatever, and that's a very low time investment for return on money. So it's just like if I it's like a good thing to invest your time in on that because you're going to get income, just things like that, like just be
Yeah.
smart with your time, I guess. But also just we talked about this before, like setting up these different streams of income that might not make you money now, but they take time to build, so start building them at once if you can. It's like so that
Yeah.
maybe one will take off while the other one is still being built. There's kind of years of feast and years of famine, and maybe maybe no feast at all or whatever. It just depends on where you are in life and where your skills are at. But just having a lot of self-awareness of like, what can I realistically get right now with my art? And if that's nothing, then what other skills do you have that can get you money now? And just, doing it from there.
What do you guys think about Patreon? Because I know that's another thing that didn't exist 20 years ago when I got out of school. And if there was a platform that I could go on to and say to anybody, "Hey, follow me here. I'm going to be sharing my all my cringe." Did I use that word properly again?
Yeah.
I'm going to be sharing all this stuff I'm passionate about.
Yeah.
And if you want to see more, and charge people a fee, rather than just posting it blindly into the void on Instagram or something. Um, what do you guys think about that as an option for somebody just starting out?
I
Is
don't
that
think just
something they
starting
should
out.
It's
should
not,
they
it's
should they just do it now,
you
or
don't start out with a Patreon.
Yeah, because it's like you can't build an audience there. That's the thing. You kind of have to have one already on some level. So it's like I got most of my patrons that are still here through like shows like Gen Con and things like that, like people I met in person. And to get to a show at Gen Con, you have to have a body of work. It's such a it's so competitive now to get into some of these shows to get that visibility, even on social media. So it's like whether you make your audience through in-person events or social media, it does sort of require some kind of a cohesive body of work that will get people following you. It's not to say it wouldn't work at all. It's just really hard.
Yeah.
And with this economy too, I don't know that people are being generous with their patronage. You know what I mean? In terms of like, I'm going to take on a few more artists.
Yeah.
You really have to think about that too. What are people spending their money on? And if they are spending their money on conventions, maybe that is more of a direction where you could get an audience. You know what I mean? Like, um, But yeah, I don't know, Lauren, what were you gonna say?
There, yeah, there are certain people who are amazing at the Patreon game, but it also caters often to a certain kind of art, and I think we all know what that is. And there's nothing wrong with that.
Yeah, yeah.
However, it's quite successful, especially when you can't post that kind of art on public channels anyway, because you'll get banned from Instagram. And so this is a haven for people to consume this type of art. But that's not the only art that's on Patreon, but those
Yeah.
are by far the most successful Patreons that I've seen the numbers of, or people share their numbers and be like, they make like $10,000 a month. And I'm like, oh my God. But those people are also drawing all the time,
Yeah.
every single day. And usually, the other Patreons that I've seen are webcomic artists who are actively making their story. They have early access on their Patreon or behind the scenes stuff of their characters that people are already invested in. But in order to do that, they have to have some kind of social media following because unlike Kickstarter, Patreon doesn't have an organic audience. People don't go on Patreon's website to find a new creator to follow because there's no basis to follow a creator without knowing what kind of content they're going to get. So you kind of have to find the creators first on social media and then want to love their art enough and have enticing enough offerings to then pay for more of their content. So, so that's generally when I follow Patreons. It's somebody who's a webcomic artist who's releasing early access stories or behind the scenes stuff. I'm like, oh my God, I don't get to see this character in this context, or I want to see how they think, or I want to see how they're building their story. And then I'll follow that Patreon. But it takes a lot for even me, who, I'm not like, I like to patronize artists. It's very fun. I love giving artists money, but I have to also pick and choose who I'm giving my money to, and it has to be worth my while, I feel like. And so it's very difficult to do that when you don't have any following on social media because there's no incentive to want to pay for the art if you can get it for free on social media. So
And
you have
it
to be
can
very
create
thoughtful.
pressure. Oh, sorry, Lauren, go ahead.
And yeah, no, it can create pressure. Yeah, go on, Mia.
Well, just like you feel, every artist I know that has a Patreon feels like this guilt if they don't post enough or create enough content for their patrons. And it's not the same. We have that pressure already with social media because we feel like we need to, grow a following, but it's different when someone's paying you, where you
Mhm.
feel like I owe them something because they're paying me
Yeah.
money. So I think that's kind of a lot of pressure for young artists that's maybe just building their skills and stuff like that. Like, because it is a time sink as well. Talk about spending time in these different areas, like how much time is involved. Like I think Patreon, that's something I wish I knew starting out, was like I don't regret it because I do have a great audience there for me, like in terms of like an income and stuff. But that helps me pay for groceries, that's for sure. But
Yeah.
so it's like, and I like having a place where I can post the things that don't have to be as polished, like on social media. I feel like it always has to be a certain full color image that I have to share on social media.
No, I like
but
your
yeah,
sketches.
it's a lot of work, is what I'm saying. Hmm.
Yes. I like your sketches though. It's really nice.
Thanks.
I like
That's
looking.
all I post on my Patreon. Really, is it's like my sketchbook stuff, and it's like kind of like the only place to see it now because I don't post that on social media really. So
Yeah. So it's like that's one of the things though, exclusive content where you don't get to see anywhere else is a big incentive. But again, it often doesn't work very well unless you have people who are already invested in your work in some kind of way and use it as a social media following. So yeah, Patreon is not a great route for beginner artists. What I will say is something that beginner artists should look at are, and we did a talk about this last year, just generally less trodden paths on social media platforms. Like, for example, Reddit was one of the ones that I had kind of dove into just to see what would happen. And especially if you were an artist who loves fan art. And like a lot of people start out with fan art. Nothing wrong with it, it's fine. But I saw one of a student who graduated like fairly recently, who I gave a portfolio review to. I saw her post organically actually on the Hollow Knight forum, and she had posted a playing card deck that she had made, and the amount of comments and likes on this thing were astronomical. And she was like, "Hey, like I'm selling this on Etsy," and she got like I think like 100 sales on that thing. Like it
yeah,
was a great amount. And I was like, "This is a very great idea to do a sub community because not only is she in that sub community, but she can also share it in adjacent communities like playing card decks or like or games or whatever the sub communities are." Because Reddit has a lot of different subreddits that you can post in your intersecting audiences, which allows many different kinds of people to see your art, especially forums that are not so saturated with art already. So I think it's a uniquely positioned kind of forum that a lot of people really don't think about. And so, if you have any kind of like niche thing in your work, like if you're a furry artist, like find your furry fandoms or like find like sub websites that you have that audience going to see this art that nobody else can go to. It like I think there's things out there that are niche communities, and I don't even know all of them, but I would say if you have any niche interests that you draw art of, this is a great opportunity for you to find that community who is starving for content and starving for things that are not AI, that are authentic to that fandom or that community. So I'm sure, people who draw food, for example, this is a whole community food artists or people who draw fashion, etc. Many intersecting audiences. So just, I think that the creativity in your art can be used for more than just your art. You, in this era, we have to get creative about how we are sharing our work and how we are reaching the people who we want to reach because it's not as easy anymore to just find that organic audience by posting on Instagram or it's not even Twitter. It's like, but it's Twitter's terrible now. But there's still artists on Twitter, but it's just I'm not posting there because AI has been rampant. So no, thank you. But Blue Sky or Kara or these other websites, it's still not as easy to get noticed. So it's being a little bit more inventive about how we are approaching it and where we're going. And I don't have like the best advice for it because I don't have time to find the niche audiences, but Reddit has definitely worked well for me. And has gotten me a lot more notice and reach that way. So that was one of the ways that I was creative with it. So yeah,
Yeah, another platform that didn't exist.
yet another platform that didn't exist when I was coming up either. Or I actually don't think I don't know, did it? I don't even remember. I wasn't using Reddit back then. But going back to what you had said, Eric, and when 20 flashback to 2011 when I was graduating grad school, and social media wasn't really a big thing. I don't think Instagram existed yet. I think it came out in 2012, if I'm not mistaken. Oh, 2010. So it was just out, fresh out. I was not using it yet. And it was still just a photo app. So it wasn't used nearly the way it's used now, back when it first came out. It was like, oh, cool filter over your photo, you're a hipster. That was basically the website it was back then. So it was not a viable form of art as social media at all. So that was not an option. But Eric, we were also getting taught in the same way where the illustration professionals or professors were saying we have to send in our postcard to these studios and we have to go with our physical portfolio around New York City. And I knew then that this was not going to be viable because the field was already shifting, even if it wasn't fully entrenched in social media yet. But I was like, nobody's going to be going to a physical location. We live in Savannah. Like, what are we doing? I'm not going to New York City. I'm not moving there. I was like, we're not preparing for the world that we're going to be stepping out into. So I already could tell that whatever I was being taught wasn't going to work.
There just seems to be shifts every decade or so in the industry. And I'm just speaking from publishing, from the professors and the instructors that I've known. Like I said, I was taught by a lot of romance cover painters.
Yeah.
And when there was people like Pino and Steve Assel and Max Ginsberg and like all these guys were amazing oil painters of romance stuff. And when it switched over to, so then at a point it was all oil painting, and then they started the studios or the publishers wanted it to be quicker turnaround. So they said, we're going to print a full size, let's say 20 by 30-inch photograph, glossy photo that you're just going to paint over and touch up. And then we're going to photograph that touched up photograph. So
Wow.
we're gonna photograph that touched up painting that you mail to us, and then from there it transitioned to no, we're gonna just take the photos from the photo shoot, lasso tool that stuff out in Photoshop, slap in some plantation background, and call it a day, right? And then you could turn out the exact same work for the exact same pay in a fraction of the time,
Yeah.
right? And now that's where it exists. but now you could just type a prompt.
Oh
So
God.
it's every decade it's something happens, something changes. And for the sci-fi fantasy book publishing, it's moved away from that era of like the Michael Wayland and the Boris
Yeah.
Vallejo, like the real beautiful narrative art on the cover, to more graphic design heavy symbolism stuff. And like before, like the stuff that Wayland and Boris and all these guys were doing in the 70s into the 80s and into maybe the early 2000s, uh that the stuff that was started in the 70s, it was a transition away from work that looked very psychedelic. Like the
Yeah.
60s had this very psychedelic, abstract quality to it. But now, the amount of books being published has dwindled because like you have social media and video games and all these other things that compete with it did not exist,
Hmm.
right? So the people that have had made their careers just doing covers, just like, I'm the cover artist for Babysitter's Club novels or whatever it is,
Yeah.
that they've found that income stream dwindling year by year. And it's just weird how as technology expands into all these different areas, the traditional avenues that we were taught were the money makers have just disappeared.
Yeah.
So this evolution of like, what does it mean to be an illustrator? Well, it's no longer just publishing. I just doing cover art or card art or whatever. It's I make the art that I want to make and I just sell it online and I have patrons paying me a livable wage, but I have to make, but it's a job to make sure I keep them content so that they don't step out or like cancel their subscription or whatever. It's weird when I see people on YouTube say, I make $6,000 a month or $10,000 a month just making my art. But then you watch the video and you're like, oh no, it's not just you
It's not
making your
just the
art.
art.
You're doing
It's
a
never just
whole
the
lot of
art.
other shit.
Yeah.
So
You're
That's what
probably
they're
selling those
selling me the
videos though.
class.
What do you say, Mia?
I said they're selling you the class about how
Yeah.
they make the
Oh,
money
all
about
kinds of
the
people are.
6K, and they're making it off the class, like not
Yep,
the
exactly.
art.
Like, oh, I made all this money off of like no. Oh, like one of my other family members got caught up in that like trap where like somebody was like, I made my own apparel and I sold like all these units of apparel, and they're not thinking about the upfront costs to pay for that apparel because apparel is expensive. It costs a lot of money per unit. It is not, you don't jump out the gate starting that kind of stuff. So a lot of people are selling kind of a grift on YouTube because they're not speaking about the whole of what it takes to get to that point where they're profitable. And they're really just good salespeople. And that's what they're selling is the fact that they are good at making themselves look convincing and making their story be convincing enough to get those views and to get those enrollments in their classes. But no, like all those things, it's not easy. Like being an artist is not, it's never been easy. It's always been tough. It's really rewarding. It's enjoyable when you get to do your great work and you get to be paid for it. But it's hard. And it's especially hard now, but it's always been hard, but it's really hard now because there's so many things contending with us existing in this space as we want to exist. Because like I think part of the symptom, and I'm not giving shade to anybody, but part of the problem is the fact that so many artists have had to make themselves be the everything in their jobs. And so now you can't be just an artist anymore because eyeballs are just not going to be on you. Like nobody's looking at you because there's somebody being flashy and, being able to present themselves as a business rather than just an artist. And it's unfortunately what it takes, but it's also been perpetuated by road of needing to survive in this industry. So now that's what we have to do. So it's just become so much harder. when before we could, like, part of us could be a few things, but not everything. Now we have to be everything. But the way that I do see it is you have to think of it as planting a garden. And you're planting multiple seeds, and each of these seeds have a different period of germination where they need different requirements. They have to be watered at different times, or they need different sunlight. But slowly, those seeds do start growing if you continue to nurture them. If you neglect them, they will wilt. And some seeds were not viable in the first place, and that's okay. But others, if you really value them, you will have to nurture them because the way that I started my career was I was kind of growing a garden and I didn't know what was going to come of it. I just knew that I didn't want myself to stagnate. That's why I started it in the first place, where I was like, okay, I'm going to do freelance over here while working full time and as a studio artist, while starting my Etsy shop, while figuring out if like I started doing school appearances around I think 2016. So I was like, okay, I'm going to start doing panels because I like talking to artists and I like talking about art in the process of making art. And again, that takes some time to build up because you have to have experience before you can do that. But it was a part of the income. And I was like, okay, conventions are going really well. I can like do these kinds of things to like make this business better and use what I'm making at conventions to invest back into the business. So I was growing these different avenues over time. I was like, oh, this gallery wants my art here, so let me see like what this gallery wants. And I was never a full-time gallery artist, but I would do galleries here and there, and I could do more of them if I felt so inclined to water that specific plant. But there were different things that I decided to spread myself out to do and water them at different times. Know that some things could be put over here and like neglected for a while, but it would still grow because it was a succulent versus this house plant that needed a little bit more water, which is my Etsy store, um, versus like this other thing that was more demanding. But it had to be a balance. And over time they grew, but none of them bore immediate fruit. It was all just building and growing it and just watching it and seeing what happened. And I was fortunate enough to get a studio job, but the studio job was not paying that much money either. It got my foot in the door, but it wasn't lucrative. So if you have a job that's not taking all of your energy away from you, then this is the time to start trying to grow your garden in different ways. And what that garden is for you looks different than for other people. It has to be your garden. That's the very special thing about it. So I think that's the advice that I would give to people.
Yeah,
But
that's solid.
it was fun.
I had a similar trajectory where I kind of stumbled into studio positions, and um, in my off hours, I was always scrambling to do the stuff that I was most passionate about,
Yeah.
and it eventually paid off. But I had a student say to me last week that, because I had basically said the same thing, like follow your passion, it'll eventually work out. The money will come, but you have to put in the effort and put it out there, let on whatever platform, let people know it exists, and eventually, if it's good, people will come to it. And he said that he's kind of had the opposite journey where he's put the work out there that he's been passionate about and nothing has happened. And it's been really exhausting and frustrating for him. Um, and it's just like there's no way back. Like he has to do, he wants to do what he wants to do, and he just feels stuck. And I just felt really bad. Like, oh, maybe I shouldn't be telling people to follow their passion because everybody's individual results may vary. I gotta put that
Oh,
addendum in
widely.
there.
There's no one size fits
Widely.
all. But I mean, I relate in the sense that it's not that nothing has happened for me, but I've always felt like the things I love to make are not like super widely popular and have not made me great money. I made more money waiting tables than I have ever made off my art, ever. And
Mm.
it's like that could take you out. And I think that does take a lot of artists out. It's like that is so crushing. It can be so crushing that you're like, maybe I'm just not meant to do this. But I think, you're allowed to grieve that, and because you love what you do. So you're like, everyone should want this. And it's kind of heartbreaking when it doesn't line up that way. But when you come to that realization that I would make it anyway, even if no one paid me, even if no one was paying attention, that is actually really empowering because you take back your worth. Like no one has to give it to you for you to feel it. And I'm getting emotional because this took a long time for me to learn, but I think once you have that value, no one can take that away from you. And then the rest is just like, you know what? I get to make this. And it's not like that you're acting like it's a privilege, because obviously you should be rewarded for that work. But it's also the acceptance again of just like, well, if this isn't going to be a mainstream thing, then I have to figure out ways to feed this passion because I can't not make it, I can't not make this thing. But the other piece of it is your audience is out there. They might be really small and that's why they haven't found you yet. And it's just a matter of trying to get that work in front of the people who will appreciate it. And if it's made from the heart, I do feel like these are the things, as we've all been talking about our careers and how the industries have changed. The constants are always there, that no matter what happens with the industry, how much people are always trying to, cut jobs, make things more efficient, the things that people still appreciate when it comes to art are things that are well made, that tell a good story, and that come from the heart, that is like something that people can feel there's an authenticity there. And I think if you have those things, like again, it's just a matter of time of finding the right amount of people. But yeah, it might not be a big enough amount of people to ever make you a living. And you have to be okay with that. Like you have to be like, and you don't have to actually, you can say, I'm not okay with that and I won't do this. But if you feel like you can't do anything else, then you can't be waiting for that external validation anymore. And you just have to keep making the thing,
Yeah,
because it demands to be made. And so
absolutely.
it's the pact I've made with my art anyway. But yeah. And then
Yeah.
it feels so much more important when you do find those people eventually, because it means so much more,
You
so
persevere for all that time, and it's like, finally you found the people who've been looking for your art the whole time.
yeah.
And because like I feel like because people are all connected in many different ways, if you're making art that is like truly what you feel like you're here to like make. And I know that's like even if you're not making that, you're just having fun making silly little guys, which is totally fine. Um, if that's the art that you feel so excited about and so like just you're expressing what you love, somebody is going to love that too. And likely multiple people are going to love that too because we're not here alone. We always intersect with somebody who has our interests. I was like, somebody's gonna like my avant-garde and nouveau like thing. I was like, maybe, I don't know, but I made it for myself first and foremost because we are our own target audience. And so if you're not making your art for you, then like what are we even doing? So you have to be the one who would put it's like, do you want to put your own art on your wall? If you don't, then like I don't know, maybe maybe you might want to examine something there. You should get excited about your art. You should feel great about your art. You should feel like this is the best foot forward I can put right now, and I love it so much. And this is who I am and what I want to make. And eventually somebody will find you. It's harder because there's so many eyeballs and so many things at any given time, but it's like it's both harder and easier because there's so many platforms with which to do it. So that's part of the reason why I like the Reddit subcommunities because like there's many different audiences here, and I stumbled into the D&D crowd who love my work and got really excited about my work, and I didn't expect that to be a thing, but I was like, oh, I guess D&D people like my stuff. Okay, that's not what I would have expected. It's not like overtly D&D, but it's fantasy and adjacent enough that it fit. So you just never know who is going to see your work. But I think if the purpose is not to be your best artist first and foremost, or like make the art that you want to make first and foremost, then and you're just doing it for a job or money, that can work for some people. But I feel like that's easily taken away from you as well because once it stops making you money, you don't want to make it anymore. Or once it fails, you have less patience for it. Whereas if it's something that you're truly passionate about, like Mia, you said, nobody can take it away from you. It's what's always going to be there no matter what. No matter what studio says you can't work there, or no matter what studio hired you and fired you, or which studio shut down, or what opportunities closed in your face, that art that you love in your own mind as an artist, that is something that is always intrinsically and wholly yourself and yours. Nobody gets to tell you what you can do or not do with it. Nobody can tell you that. You can always make that art. That's part of the reason why AI could never, because like AI has to be told to do something before it can do it. You don't have to be told anything. You can just sit down and do it, which is a beautiful thing. And I think that's a thing that's, that's gonna save each individual artist who like gets to make their thing. Like, I don't know, my art has saved me many times. And I think it saved a lot of us, just like not despairing, because we always have a way to express ourselves. We always have something to say with our art, whether it's something super silly or something very serious and deep, but it's something that we uniquely can say. And so make it to say it. It's like I think that advice that you gave, Eric, is like I think it is valid. It's not going to be the same journey for everybody. That's the thing too, because we're individuals, the results widely vary. So yeah, it's tough, but no one can take it from
Yeah.
you.
Like I remember hearing a story about either Kevin Eastman or Peter Laird on on a subway train telling a random stranger that they had come up with an idea about these anthropomorphic turtles that are also ninjas and being laughed at on the subway. You
Yeah,
know,
it's so
they
ridiculous.
stuck to it. They did their thing.
I think about this all the time, Teenage Mutant, because we just came out with a TMNT set for Magic, and I'm just like, this is a thing that exists, and people love it, and it's
Wow.
the weirdest idea ever.
Yeah.
Ever.
It's mutant turtles who are anthropomorphic who practice kung. What? They're ninjas. They live in a sewer. Then they love pizza.
Yep.
That's
Just
a weird idea.
throw the whole sink at it. Like, yeah, that's
Their mentor is a rat. Hello,
yep.
what?
What? Yep.
Like, are you
One
guys
of the other
okay?
things that I was just thinking about, um, like if I was starting my career today or was wanting to get into any kind of art today, I would still want to learn how to do things traditionally.
Mhm.
Yes,
I would
yes,
still want to learn how to physically paint and draw because with AI being so abundant now and such, it's going to be a part of our lives. There's no
mhm,
way around it, and people can grimace and all that. But what I'm seeing is that, and talking to people that also teach at different universities, there's a need to show your process to prove that you actually painted it now.
yeah,
Because just looking at an image on your phone or on your screen or a print, a lot of people don't know what they're looking at and will
yeah,
ask you, is this AI? And if you're able to say, no, this is a physical painting, it's 24 by 36 inches, it's
you can
blah, blah,
hold it in your
blah.
hands.
And here is the YouTube video to show you my entire journey. People are blown away by that. Like, you actually physically painted this? Why would you do that when you could just do it in Photoshop? It's just it like I said, like that whole thing about there's always some change happening. Now it makes traditional work even more valuable
Yeah,
to people when you see that less and less people are learning how to do it. They're more worried about what program they should learn or what filter they need to add to their digital file in order for it to look just right. And one professor at a college I was telling me that his student uh, within the past month had this huge jump in quality, and the work that they were turning in was just blowing them away. And he was praising the student and everything. And then another student ratted that student out and said, emailed him and said, "Sir,
God.
that's all AI. Like
Oh.
I've been sitting right next to them and I know what they're doing and they're just printing it out and maybe doing some embellishments and onto a print, but that's not their work."
This is
So
about praise and art.
the students that are coming through these colleges right now are trying to find a way to make the AI a part of their tool set, you know? Like we would use Pinterest to get to start stir up ideas for for an idea or a costume or whatever it may be, they're using the AI, which is sampling. It's like the same thing.
Well,
Only it's way worse. It's
Only
way
it's way
worse. It's
worse.
way because what it's doing is also eliminating the research part of the discovery process. Whereas like Pinterest is just a photo, it's images and photos and things like you're finding inspiration from real stuff. But AI, you just generate whatever, and it's your own bias and it's the AI's bias, and then it is just eliminate you're removing your ability to think conceptually as an artist, and that is probably one of the most valuable skills that you need to maintain as an artist. How to do research, how to find proper references, how to take your own references, how to collect a proper mood board, how to get inspired by what you find. And like because like so many things that I have researched before I do an illustration has been um so I found something that like changed my mind. I was like, I changed my how the way I want to approach something, or it made me discover something new, or I fell down a rabbit hole and got distracted because of my ADHD. And I was like, oh my God, like I discovered something really cool and new, and I got to draw a picture about that later. And like none of that would happen if I was just generate what I think the best approximation of finger looks like, which AI is notoriously terrible at doing, but it's gotten better. But it's still all the bias, and it's removing it's just like they really want AI to replace our ability to think,
Mhm.
and we cannot let it do that. Also, I'm of the mind, it's like, yeah, AI is running rampant, but always bully AI and AI companies.
absolutely.
Always, always, never, do not relent, do not stop. It does work. Bullying works. Bully them to the ends of the earth. Companies, individuals, sometimes their stuff is not AI. The witch hunt is in the wrong person. Stop it. But like companies, bully the companies
Yeah.
can take the company's not a person. Bully them.
I feel like most of the ubiquity is people saying it's everywhere. Like, and the most people in the US anyway hate AI, or at least
Yeah.
are terrified of it, don't trust it. So it's just like, I have never seen such a backlash to technology before. Yeah, I feel like,
Well, I just want to jump in. So artists recognize it and hate it.
no, I
No,
General
think
normal people are
public,
normies,
recognizing it
normies
too.
too.
so a lot of people that don't have any skin in the game do not care. My therapist sat there like 2 weeks ago telling me about some new thing. He's trying to make a movie through using AI on his as I'm telling him
Oh my
about
God.
how it's ruining my industry. He's like, I was just here making this video, making the like, dude, are you listening to a word that's coming out of my mouth?
Yeah, they
He
don't
did not
seem to
care. I'm like, oh
understand
my God, I need to
that
find somebody
nuance.
else to talk to.
But the people who have to be forced to see it every day on like Facebook or on like whatever, it's
Yeah.
like all these comments like on like non-art things
Exactly.
about like I don't want to see this AI slop. I don't want to see the slop. And thank goodness for that term AI slop. Because that's what it is. It's a bunch of slop. It's just like we're giving people things that we never needed. We don't need it at all.
We have a
Um,
search engine already. Like that gives you all the research you could possibly need. This is like a screwed up search engine that just generalizes everything, makes everything bland and uniform, and like gets rid of all the serendipity that you were talking about in terms of just finding
yeah.
a random thing, but a
Mhm.
random true thing. Like you don't even know what's anyway. It's
And
just
people are also becoming more aware of data centers and their usage of water and how bad they are for the environment. So the conversation is starting to spread into audiences beyond just the art conversation because AI is not just replacing artists, but it's replacing many, many different jobs and permeating many different jobs. And like my doctor's offices, my dentist's offices, and like some of the dentists are just like, I know it's AI, it's weird, and but they're like being also forced to use it, and they don't like it either. My doctor was like, AI has been giving recommendations, and they're like, I'm the doctor. I'm the one who's gone to school to do this. Why? She was like, I'm not using it for recommendations. Like that's like crazy. And I told her I didn't consent to it, and she was like, that's fine. I don't have to use it. I'll just write my chart. But it's permeating to many different spaces, so not just art. But anyway, we'll talk about AI. That's a whole nother episode.
Well, just coming back to the evolving industry and changes and how people should move forward, could move forward with their starting their careers. Um, I was at a convention in Washington, D.C. It was a 1 day gallery show, but it had music, it had a DJ, it had like fast food. It was crazy. It was crazy. It was like everything. People were dancing. It was just loud. It was like you put an art show in the middle of a club. Straight up. It
Okay.
was just loud. Like you couldn't even hear the artist talking in front of you. Like it was like you just
Wow.
like you were at the club shouting about, yeah, this is an oil painting.
Oh my God.
But it was such um a wide range of technical skill from like old heads that could like really throw down with paint to people that were literally printing out their prompts onto canvas. Like you could tell that it was AI.
Oh
And
man,
they didn't care. They were like, it's a one day show. Most of the people here are just art collectors that probably won't know the difference, won't know what they're looking at.
that's awful.
And people were cleaning up. Like I'm looking at AI prints on canvas for like $500 a piece. You're like, wow.
Makes me
So,
so mad.
wow. So, but then there were traditional pieces that were selling for 5 grand and up. So, like, it's a range
Hmm.
throughout the entire room of quality versus technology, like traditional skills versus technology, and and it's really I feel like it's really Wild West right now. Like, what's
Because the world is adjusting to this new disruptor.
yeah,
Um, and we have to like we as artists have to figure out where we belong now and how do we adapt to this technology. Or like not to this technology, but just like against this technology of just being able to keep our livelihoods. I've seen a lot of artists incorporate it into their pipeline. I no, I just don't think that's the right call. But people who are not using AI, we like really have to think about how is our art going to cut through that noise now that there's even more noise disrupting all of social media and all of like even like our convention spaces. And part of it is being like the being vocal about it has really helped because like when Dragon Con and New York Comic Con and all these conventions started saying we're not going to allow AI, other conventions did follow. And so I think that as we establish our spaces in this new era, we do have to continue to be advocates for us as artists and other artists who are also trying to come up and not allowing these things that are actively pushing us out of work to easily permeate these like it's permeating regardless, but it would be way worse if no one said anything. That's
Yeah.
a guarantee. That's a guarantee. It would be all up in our convention spaces if there were no regulations. It would be all up on all social like all the it's on social media now, but there's such a strong backlash to a lot of AI that it's taken out of a lot of spaces and places don't allow it anymore. Some companies not all companies, but some companies they're like, oh my God, we're not going to use AI in our game because like we see that the backlash lost this game an award and took this game off this platform and like lost them these followers. And so that's why I encourage the vocal like advocacy for artists and for human artistry because it has been working. Our pushback has been heard, and we are voting also with our wallets, and we're not supporting the AI slop that's out there. And I
Yeah.
think that's super important. So like you and your community has more power. We have more power than we think we do,
And I
and
think
we
there's
need to
always going
keep
to be
using it.
people who don't care, but there's a lot of people that if they knew it was AI, they would not support it. And it's like, is that really how you want? You know what I mean? It's like, is that how you want to
Mhm.
build your career? Is basically on something that could at any point be shut out of people reaching people because of how you're making it. It's like I
Yeah,
think you're hamstringing yourself for all the don't get left behind rhetoric. That is honestly hamstringing not only your skills but just the audiences you can reach.
absolutely.
And
Which we
again,
do.
it's like when the power grids fail, I would hope that you know how to make art because otherwise you're not an artist in my book. But anyway.
Same, exactly. Yeah, if you can't make art with a stick, you can't make art at all. Draw in the sand. You don't need money to be an artist. You can just draw. You need nothing to draw. You
yeah.
don't need to.
This morning I woke up and saw that the Easter Bunny had brought my kids a superhero coloring book, and I sat down and I flipped through it, and the entire book is 100% AI.
I hate that so much. There's so many AI coloring books. there.
I
Freaking
wonder to
problematic
myself,
Easter bunny.
Problematic
how
Easter
much
bunny
money did this person
have it
make
out their hand.
after typing prompts for like an hour and
Awful.
just publishing it through Amazon,
There's so
you
many
know,
like them
while
too.
somebody else is struggling to learn their fundamentals and be a proper artist.
There's
Oh
value in
man.
being a proper artist.
Again, it's like comparison is like, what is that quote? That it's like the envy of something of happiness, I'm sure, or but
Well,
there's some quote I'm butchering right now, but it's
well,
something about,
Worf says comparison is the thief of joy.
yeah, there you go. I think that's the one I was thinking about.
Of course, it's
Um,
A Star Trek quote.
oh,
Of course, it is. Why
everything's a
wouldn't
Star
it be?
Trek quote, every good thing.
I
But
mean,
it's
Star
just
Trek
like,
is a banger show.
yeah, yeah. But I'm just saying, you can say like this person that makes this kind of art makes so much money, but if you wouldn't make that art, what does it matter? You know, it's like if you wouldn't, it's the same thing. If I would never want to make a career off of AI art, I
Yeah,
can't really care if they're making money, you know?
yeah. And it's like if that's what somebody's MO, then it's like I can't stop you, but I will not support you. I will judge you.
Yeah.
And it's also like it's not fulfilling in any way. You're not making anything. I would rather be fulfilled from my art. And I know that might not mean that much to people who only think about money. But they wouldn't care about being fulfilled anyway. Even if AI wasn't a thing, they would just find another way to exploit or mine something unethical or whatever that is like there unethical means have existed long before AI has, that's for sure. So it's just yet another unethical thing has come rising up, and people who have integrity will not use it.
It's a grifter's economy, unfortunately. They are the ones being rewarded a lot these days.
Yeah,
So.
and it's like, money, I don't know. Money feels like everything when you don't have it. Um, and so I know this the struggle is definitely felt and real and heard. And some people are like, this is the easy way out. But for people who do want to like grow those actual seeds and like plant a garden, AI is like those plastic plants. It's just like they just sit there collecting dust, but they're not real. They can't grow. They can't move or adjust. They're just plastic. Um, but for people who actually want to take the time and grow their garden, uh, that bears so much more fruit. It is rewarding. It is something beautiful that no one else can get if not for you growing that garden in the first place. And you have to figure out what that worth is for yourself. You have to figure out what it means to you to plant these seeds and what your visualization of what you want your life to be like. Do you want to feel proud of the work that you're doing, or do you want to just have a paycheck? Work is work, right? Like, if you're working at a studio, that's one thing. But if you're subscribing to the grift, it may go the way of NFTs, and everybody's doing the grift. So when everybody's doing it, nobody's doing it. It's like it's not. Don't do it. It's not worth it. It's not worth it. Make something that's authentic to you. Don't sell yourself out. Don't sell your soul to the AI grifters. It's not worth it. But your art is worth it always, 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 always. And it's going to be hard at first. When it pays off, it's going to feel like the sweetest thing you've ever had. I think it's worth sticking with it. So yeah, if you're an artist who's listening to this talk, I really hope that we didn't come off like too negative. I mean, even if we did, I think we try to be as real as possible, right? About what's going on. Part of the reason why we started the show was because we wanted to show the real life of being a working artist, and not just the glamour, but also the hardship and the ups and downs and the mental health issues. And this is a very real conversation that artists need to ask themselves. What do I do in a time where everything seems to be against us? How do I keep my integrity? How do I keep my art? How do I keep this creativity flowing? Uh, just know that we all believe in each and every one of you to make something happen of your art, whether or not it's profitable. Um, and hopefully one day it will be, but always make it for you first and foremost. You are your target audience. Uh, I think that each of us can make it, and each of us can make the world a better place if we make our art happen. We can save people. So if you like our show, please feel free to smash that like button, hit that subscribe, leave a comment. Thank you for joining in the live chat if you're here with us right now. But please keep making your art. We love you very much. We'll try to post more often too. We've been all very busy. Mia's been super busy. Let's give a round of applause for Mia, guys,
Wait, why
because
just
she's been doing
me? You
great. She's
guys are
been
busy
crushing it.
too.
Yeah, but you're like making your books, and I mean, we're all busy. Eric has
Yeah,
been doing
exactly.
amazing work. But yeah, Eric's been working really hard. I've been working really hard. We all been working really hard. So sorry that we haven't been very consistent lately, but we post when we can, and we just appreciate your support regardless of that. So thank
So,
you all
I
so
mean, I
much.
guess I don't know what I can say. Like, I've been doing a lot of work for Wizards of the Coast for the past 3 years that I can't show and or talk about, but they've been really keeping me busy, and I'm so grateful for the opportunity to do the stuff that I've been doing. But it doesn't leave me a lot of time, hasn't left me a lot of time to really focus on self-promotion, keeping my Instagram active or letting people know that I exist. And that makes me feel like a studio artist that only shows their work every time a movie comes out. And then there's Instagram's a ghost town, in between Spider-Verse sequels or something. But I'm excited to show the work that I've been doing uh, end of this year, next year, and beyond. But yeah, we've just been lifing. Life, that's what somebody told me last year is life keeps lifing.
Life be life, and man,
Life be
life be
lifing.
seriously life and
So yeah,
struggle.
that's
But,
straight up. All right.
yeah.
Are we going around and saying what we've been working on real quick?
Oh yeah,
Or?
yeah, yeah.
Yeah, plug your stuff, Mia.
You plug your stuff,
Plug my
Mia.
stuff in 10 days, or actually, I don't know when this is going to be out, but it'll be a 1 year anniversary since my first book came out. I cannot believe it. Like, it's been a whole year.
Yay! By the
But
time we air the episode, is it like about around then? Will it be what
maybe.
year?
Oh, maybe. Yeah. Something like that.
Yay, Mia!
Crazy.
Congratulations, Mia!
Thank you. But I've
So
been
proud
just
of
doing
you.
school visits, signings, just all kinds of stuff, still spreading the word out about it and just meeting people. It's been amazing. It's been my favorite part, just meeting kids and teachers and librarians and things like that. Also, like I said, helping my partner with his magic stuff. What else am I doing? Working on another book that Lauren and Eric both know about, but I haven't shared yet. And yeah, just also doing live portraits for events. So, like for people with weddings or corporate events or anything like that, that hire artists to draw the guests. I've been doing that and commissions and all the above.
Yeah. And I've been doing a lot of mentorship as well. Obviously, continuing to work full time for Wizards. Actually, the Secrets of Strixhaven trailer just came out the first Tuesday of April. Whatever, you'll look it up. It's really cool. I art directed on that trailer. It was really fun and really rewarding, and it was one of the biggest ones I've worked on. So I'm really proud of it. So go check it out. Very, very busy. I've also been doing panels and school visits and mentorship and just a lot of outreach to the community. I love talking to artists. It's one of my favorite things. I'll be at SCAD speaking at one of our professor's classes, and I'll also be at SCAD somewhere in SCAD Atlanta. I do not remember what the festival is called, but I'll be there. And I will also be at Gen Con and Dragon Con this year. MomoCon, Gen Con, and Dragon Con this year. I just did Emerald City in February, and that was really fun too. But so yeah, I've also been super busy and also trying to work on my own projects as well. So they'll probably not be coming out anytime soon, but I'm updating my Patreon with art of it, so that's cool. But
Awesome.
yeah, so
I
that's
didn't
what
even know you had a
I
Patreon.
don't advertise it because I'm not great at it, let's be real. But I do post on it, so I do have a Patreon.
Oh my God. I gotta get a Patreon. I can't be the only one here that doesn't have one.
Yeah, but then you have to
Well, I
update
have
it
it. I
every
just
time.
I haven't posted on it yet.
Yeah. So you gotta post
Anyway,
on it. But
yeah.
I'm trying to be more consistent with my Patreon because eventually I do want to do an originals club where it's like once every quarter an original. So that would be really cool, but I have to be more consistent first before I can let myself do that. So we'll see. We'll see. But I think that's it. Thanks everybody for being here, and we'll try to post more, but we'll post as we need to. We're not going to burn ourselves out. But we'll see you next time. Thank you so much again for joining us in the live chat and in the comments, and thank you, as always, artists. We love y'all. Bye.